Have you ever spent hours working on a Dreamsnap only for it to underperform? Have you ever wondered why some players achieve consistent high ranks while others fluctuate wildly? Are you curious as to why many of the photos you see when voting appear to be rushed with very little to do with the theme? Whether you're a Dreamsnaps veteran looking for extra insight or a Dreamsnaps beginner looking to get started, the purpose of this video remains the same: to condense all of the Dreamsnaps knowledge I've accumulated into 10 easy to follow tips. In this video, we'll be covering things like core concepts, camera utility, and the Dreamsnap system to reveal how certain items can impact Dreamsnap performance and even visibility. Now you may be wondering, Senpai, who are you to tell me about Dreamsnaps? And that's a fair question. There's no shortage of misinformation when it comes to the Dreamsnap system, and you should be skeptical of anyone who claims they can turn you into a Dreamsnaps pro. With that said, if there is one thing I'm known for in the Dreamlight Valley space, it's my love and knowledge of Dreamsnaps. I've had the distinct honor of participating in every Dreamsnap challenge. In fact, every image you're seeing on the screen right now has managed to earn me 4,000 moonstones. Now, I don't claim to be the best when it comes to Dreamsnaps. Far from it, really, but I have managed to develop a strong understanding of what it takes to be successful in Dreamsnaps, and I've helped to guide many players to 4,000 moonstones and beyond. Now, before anyone out there assumes that my Dreamsnaps only do good because I'm a YouTuber or a content creator, you should probably know something. I am one of the few content creators who never shares their Dreamsnaps on any socials or Discord servers until voting is closed. I also constantly change my avatar to ensure that I'm not recognized, and I often completely avoid working on Dreamsnaps during my live streams. I do all of this for one simple reason: to prove that you can too. As we prepare to dive into this Dreamsnap breakdown, it's important to add that I alone cannot make you a Dreamsnaps pro. The best I can do is give you the knowledge to make yourself one. Watching this video does not automatically mean you will always get 4,000 moonstones, though utilizing all 10 of these tips will give you much higher odds of success and, if applied correctly, consistent Dreamsnap results. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so every like on this video can make a tremendous difference for me. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you would like to catch more of my content, you can find me live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Links to both my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Tip number 1. Every challenge is a photo challenge. Now, this tip is pretty straightforward and for the most part understood by a majority of the player base. Essentially, this tip serves to point out that your setting and outfit matter regardless of whether the current challenge is an outfit challenge or a decor challenge. Sure, the required tags and bonus tags will only apply to their respective challenges, but when it comes to capturing votes, the level of thought put into your submission usually plays a large role in its performance. Think of it this way. In an outfit challenge, if your submission is paired up against a submission with a very similar outfit, the one more likely to capture the vote will usually be the one with a better setting. A similar concept applies to decor challenges. If two decor challenges appear equally appealing to the voter, they may end up voting based on how well the avatar's outfit fits into the chosen setting. It's not uncommon for voters to consider the overall level of thought and effort that's gone into a submission. You don't always have to build a setting from scratch, but taking an extra moment to consider both your outfit and your setting, regardless of which type of challenge you're facing, does increase the odds of capturing those crucial votes and collecting your 4,000 moonstones. Tip number 2. Always mind the theme. Okay, so some of you may be rolling your eyes at this one, but hear me out. Minding the theme can be a bit deeper than you may think. Let's take the Your Luck's Look challenge as an example. This outfit challenge carried the following description: think glamour, think gold, think riches. Dress up in a style so luxurious that Scrooge McDuck himself would be impressed. Now, some players may read this and think, okay, dress luxuriously. Got it. And while that's not necessarily wrong, you could take a bit more of the theme into account here to elevate your Dreamsnap further. The portion stating think gold and think riches can be used when building on your outfit and setting. Scrooge McDuck was also mentioned, so bringing Scrooge along on your photo shoot could play very well with this theme. In some challenges, even the challenge title can be important. For example, in the Ocean Views challenge, despite the description never mentioning a view of the ocean, many voters preferred submissions that provided an ocean view, as they felt it played better with the theme. Closing out this tip, I recommend always revisiting the Dreamsnap tab and carefully reviewing the challenge anytime you plan to work on your submission. Tip number 3. Get to know your camera. When it comes to Dreamsnaps, the most important tool in your arsenal is your camera. If you're new to using the Dreamlight Valley camera, I recommend experimenting with it until you feel comfortable. Camera functions are shown in 2 places on the camera overlay. The menu on the bottom left allows you to change things like modes, frame size, and hide your overlay, while the menu on the bottom right allows you to cycle through poses, filters, and borders. Now, unfortunately, we just don't have time to discuss every utility of the camera tool in this video. Though with that said, I will briefly go over several important camera functions and some interesting lesser known utilities that even veteran players may find helpful. We'll start by discussing poses. Poses can be incredibly useful in Dreamsnaps, helping players convey confidence, relaxation, and even rage. Though there is one type of pose in particular that offers an incredibly wide range of utility, the companion pose. Each companion category offers its own unique stance, including options that allow the avatar to sit, squat, kneel, and more. In many cases, companion poses can help voters see even more of the background or setting you've created. Unknown to many players, one of these companion poses has 2 separate variations. With the male body style, posing with the fox will result in your avatar kneeling down, while posing with the female body style will result in your avatar sitting on the ground, leaning slightly towards the fox. Not only do these different poses add even more flexibility to how you create your Dreamsnap, but the different size and shape of the body types can help you build a scene that works best for you. Remember, there's nothing wrong with creating a new character or identity for certain Dreamsnap challenges. This can be a great tool to utilize when conveying a story or a message in your submission. Next up, we'll discuss facial expressions. Facial expressions can be very important in Dreamsnap challenges as they help to convey emotions that will potentially resonate with voters. Now, it's important to mention that some of the expressions are a bit janky and can cause the avatar to look at the ground rather than towards the camera. This is especially true with the male avatar. You can avoid this by experimenting with the expressions and being selective with what you utilize. For example, one of my favorite methods of expressing confidence with the female avatar is to use the hand on hip pose and the winking expression. If you snap the photo after the avatar finishes the winking animation, she'll be looking directly into the camera with a slight grin on her face. This can play very well into certain themes and challenges. Alternatively, selecting no pose and no expression causes the avatar to slowly weave from side to side, occasionally looking into the camera with a bright, beautiful, and charming smile. Timing your photo in this moment can allow you to convey joy without the use of a facial expression option, and in my opinion can often look better than the standard smiling expressions. The last feature of the camera we'll be touching on are both the filters and borders. As mentioned with the other camera features, it's best to experiment with each of these options to gain a strong understanding of what they're capable of. Camera filters offer several utilities you may find useful in certain scenarios, such as the ability to increase brightness or the ability to sharpen an image and remove blur from your background. A quick side note here, the blurred background only occurs when using the camera's portrait mode with medium or higher graphic presets. meaning this blur will not occur when playing on older platforms such as the Nintendo Switch, which only runs the game on low graphic presets. Alternatively, this blur can be removed by utilizing what is currently the fourth filter in the filter menu. Borders can occasionally be used to emphasize a theme as well as remove unwanted foreground elements. For example, a recent bug in Update 10 causes the grass to sometimes show through pathing. While creating my theme park snack bar submission, this resulted in my foreground being filled with grass. Rather than submitting with the unsightly grass, I applied a widescreen filter, effectively removing the unwanted foreground element. I used a similar approach when submitting my DIY theme park submission. As mentioned at the start of this tip, there are many more camera utilities than what we can cover here. Unfortunately, we simply do not have the time to provide a full breakdown of this complex tool. In closing, I recommend that anybody looking to compete in Dreamsnaps familiarize themselves with every aspect of this camera and the utilities it has to offer. Keep in mind that it's not uncommon for Dreamlight Valley updates to bring forth new camera functionality. Experimentation and practice are the best ways to become comfortable and confident with your camera. Tip number 4. Choose appropriate angles. Of course, we can't discuss the camera without discussing angles. By default, the camera will always open in selfie mode. Now, occasionally, I do see some decent selfie submissions, but it's important for me to mention that this particular mode is not the best for Dreamsnap challenges. While the selfie mode does allow voters to have a better look at your makeup and hair choices, it fails to provide a full look at the outfit you've created. Selfie mode can also greatly reduce how much of your chosen decor is visible, as your avatar will occupy too much of the frame. Now, I'm not saying selfies can't perform well. In some rare cases, they can, but in my experience, it's best to avoid using them unless a future challenge calls for it. The two most commonly utilized camera modes in the upper ranks of Dreamsnaps include the portrait mode and the free control mode. In most cases, portrait mode is ideal, as it provides a great view of the avatar and setting. However, the free control mode can also be quite useful, allowing for a close-up view of your designs for an outfit challenge, as well as providing unique angles or perspectives for other challenges. Just be careful not to capture the void while indoors, and try not to zoom out too much outdoors. We'll elaborate on this a bit more later on in the video. When it comes to Dreamsnap creation, the angle is usually the first thing I try to figure out, as this can make the entire creative process much more efficient. Deciding what angle to use before you start building out your Dreamsnap means you'll know exactly what areas you need to focus your decor and design on, while everything else off camera can be ignored. There's no need to decorate an entire room or an entire biome when only a fraction of it is going to be in frame. Upon choosing my location and angle, I typically drop a small item on the ground such as a gemstone or dream shard to mark my positioning, so that I may return to that spot and capture my Dreamsnap once I complete putting my scene together. Choosing the proper angle is an important step when taking any photo, but it's particularly meaningful during outfit challenges. Utilizing certain pets or companions limits outfit visibility, which in many cases can lead to less votes on your photos. Using the proper angle can remedy this issue, allowing you to utilize the companion you want while providing the voter with an unobstructed view of your outfit. In closing, angles can serve to elevate submissions, resolve problems, and reduce the amount of work necessary while streamlining your creative process. Tip number 5. Work to understand composition. Put simply, composition is how the elements of a photo are arranged. Composition can include many different elements, or only a few. It's how the artist puts those elements within a frame that help a photograph become more or less interesting to a viewer. Unfortunately, fully understanding composition and all of its benefits isn't something I can teach through one short tip alone. So today, we'll focus on some common Dreamsnap composition weaknesses and strengths to keep in mind. One of the most common missed opportunities I encounter while voting is a lack of foreground elements. While utilizing portrait mode, failing to place any items in your foreground effectively makes the entire bottom half of your photo empty, whereas utilizing foreground items could have made the photo far more interesting to the voter. Keep in mind, you don't necessarily need to overload the foreground, but including an item or two can go a long way to elevate a submission. Of course, this does not mean that the midground or background are any less important. The key to a good composition is to balance your foreground, midground, and background elements while not overwhelming the viewer or cluttering the photo. Of course, some voters may like busier dream snaps, but in my experience, busy isn't always best. And striking a nice balance between too busy and too empty is a good goal or guideline to follow. Color composition is another thing to keep in mind when considering the overall composition of your photo. In some cases, lighter outfits or items can be complemented with a darker backdrop and vice versa. This can also apply to the items within your setting. If you stack or layer multiple items of the same color, it can become difficult for the viewer to appreciate where one item ends and another item begins. One of the more common and popular dream snap composition approaches is the utilization of symmetry. Now, not all symmetrical photos are guaranteed to perform well, but statistically speaking, most human beings find symmetry to be rather enticing and beautiful. There are many studies to support this claim. For me personally, I don't always use symmetry in my dream snaps, but from time to time, it is fun to experiment with, and it almost always goes over well with voters. As mentioned at the beginning of this tip, there is a lot to learn when it comes to composition, far more than we could possibly cover here. Though with what we've discussed, I'm hoping you are on your way to understanding composition and the role it has to play in Dream Snaps voting. To continue growing in your understanding of composition, I recommend taking the time to view high-ranked Dream Snaps while asking yourself why the creator chose to arrange each element as they did. Tip number 6. Experiment with lighting. Lighting can play a major role in Dream Snap performance. Throughout this tip, we'll be focusing on two primary forms of in-game lighting: global or environmental lighting and appointed lighting, which includes placeable items such as torches, streetlights, candles, plants, and more. Light is yet another element within your photo's composition, but in many ways, it's so important in photography that it deserves its own tip chapter in this tutorial. We'll start things off by discussing different methods in which you can utilize global lighting. Within the settings menu, you'll find an option to offset the time of day, which impacts the placement of both the sun and moon. This can be used to your advantage in many different ways. Switching your time of day to high noon can remove most of the shadows and provide higher levels of brightness, while switching your offset to night can allow appointed lighting to activate in darker environments. One of my favorite timing offsets to use involves what's known as the golden hours, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. aka sunset. While a setting sun can offer an amazing backdrop for certain themes, there's actually another useful approach when working with the setting sun. By facing your camera away from the sun, you'll notice your avatar to be bathed in warm or golden light. For comparison, this is what your avatar looks like in normal lighting conditions, and this is what your avatar looks like when using sunlight during the golden hours. This can play a significant role in outfit challenges whenever you'd prefer for an outfit's details to be more prominent or exaggerated. On the flip side, when capturing a sunset in the background, you'll notice that your avatar's outfit is not very well lit. So while the setting sun can add extreme beauty to the backdrop, this angle can at some times make outfits and details more difficult to see. Whenever you build your Dream Snap, I recommend experimenting with a wide variety of time offsets. Not only will this grant you several different lighting possibilities for the current challenge, it will also help you become more comfortable with the game's global lighting mechanics. Appointed lighting can be a bit more advanced. as there's a much wider range of options. One of my favorite ways to utilize appointed lighting is as an aid to composition. Appointed lighting can make certain elements in your photos much more prominent, whether that's your avatar or a decor item you've placed such as a statue or attraction. Keep in mind, appointed lighting does not always require items to complement, as appointed lights themselves can make amazing focal points when creating Dreamsnap submissions. In closing, experimenting with both global and appointed lighting can add to the overall quality of your photo's composition and even play a role as a primary element. The more you experiment with lighting in your submissions, the more comfortable you will become with its utilization. Tip number 7. Include a wow factor. One of the best ways to secure votes is to include an element in your submission to impress voters. There are several different strategies you can employ to achieve a wow factor in your submissions, including villagers or companions that work with the current theme, utilizing symmetry, telling a story with your submission, and playing with lighting are just a few methods you can employ to introduce a wow factor. When reviewing the current theme and description, ask yourself how you plan to impress voters. For example, in the Arendelle Showcase Challenge, I went out of my way to include all of the villagers from the Frozen franchise. In Fur, Feather, and Scales, I played with lighting composition to express my avatar's strong bond with her companion. In Camp Dreamlight, I used cozy companion homes to fill the foreground with raccoons. And in Superhero for a Day, I built a storytelling scene showing a victorious hero who had stopped a bank heist. Of course, you don't have to use these exact approaches. Including any kind of wow factor typically expresses that you took the challenge seriously and went that extra mile. In closing, wow factors are often what separate good Dreamsnaps from great Dreamsnaps. Tip number 8. Know your voters. In the world of Dreamsnaps, votes matter. Even with good visibility and effort, if your Dreamsnap fails to capture votes, it's doomed to underperform. Just like in politics, securing votes means understanding the people you're trying to appeal to. Of course, not everyone thinks the same, and there's no way to appeal to every single player. However, it is possible to appeal to the majority of players by keeping a few things in mind. First off, it's important to consider that a vast majority of players typically know which Dreamsnap they're voting for within the first few seconds of observation. This makes it highly important that your Dreamsnap stands out the moment your photo appears in front of the player. Fortunately, there are several methods that you can use to achieve this. Lighting composition, wow factors, symmetry, and many other approaches can aid in voters immediately gravitating towards your photo rather than your opponent's. Secondly, unless you're on PlayStation, you should consider that many players may be voting from a smaller screen such as a Nintendo Switch or even a mobile device using Apple Arcade. If a Dreamsnap is too cluttered, overcomplicated, dimly lit, or zoomed out to a high degree, it can often lead to your Dreamsnap being overlooked. After submitting your Dreamsnap, I recommend visiting the Dreamsnap menu and checking your submission without enlarging it. While doing this, ask yourself if it's truly going to stand out or pop when voters encounter it. Lastly, I highly recommend joining a few active Disney Dreamlight Valley Discord servers and reviewing players' Dreamsnap submissions. There are thousands of Dreamlight Valley players who share their submissions once they've completed them. Reviewing these submissions can help give you an idea as to what many players find acceptable or appropriate for the current challenge. Of course, it is okay to think outside of the box, so long as you stay well within the theme, but you should at least be conscious of what other players are thinking. Tip number 9. Be patient. Unfortunately, We don't all have hours on end to work on our Dreamsnaps. Some weeks you may be forced to rush a submission, pushing you to submit in unideal circumstances. However, should you have the time available, I cannot stress enough how important being patient truly is. Taking the extra time to remove night thorns or wait for good weather can be the difference between a successful Dreamsnap and an underperforming Dreamsnap. Patience can also help you capture amazing backdrop elements like the Mickey Cloud or a perfectly placed moonshot. Patience is useful when it comes to utilizing villagers as well. It's easy to ask one villager to hang out with you and then trap them for a Dreamsnap submission. But when you're hoping to capture 3 or 4 specific villagers, you'll have to be patient, as going indoors will reset any trapped villager. This means that if 2 or more of the villagers you want to use in your Dreamsnaps are indoors, you're going to have to return to the game at a later time if you want to use both of them. Patience can play a large role when capturing a wow factor. Perhaps you want a villager to perform a certain animation, or you want a pet to be in a particular place. When it comes to wrangling pets and villagers, Dreamlight Valley will do everything in its power to test your patience. Taking the extra time to wait it out and submit an impressive Dreamsnap can be the difference between collecting 1,500 moonstones and collecting 4,000 moonstones. With all of that in mind, there is a dark side to this, and you can take it too far. So try to be mindful not to overwork your Dreamsnaps. Going down the rabbit hole of constantly trying to make your Dreamsnap photo better and better and better can sometimes result in you losing a near perfect submission. Be sure to keep this in mind anytime you're replacing what you currently have submitted, because once you do that, there's no turning back. And finally, tip number 10. Utilize high-value items. Since the inception of Dreamsnaps, there has been an incredible amount of confusion and debate surrounding Dreamsnap performance. Some players have noticed their Dreamsnap ranks fluctuating wildly, while others seem to always land in the top ranks. How could this be? What is it that these players understand that others do not? This was a question I was determined to answer before creating this tutorial. To many players, it's become somewhat obvious that some submissions seem to carry very little reach or visibility. Oftentimes, when a well-made Dreamsnap underperforms, it's not because players disliked it, it's simply because many players never actually saw it. There are many popular theories on why this could be the case. Some creators believe that Dreamsnaps utilizing Star Path or premium items get a boost in visibility, while others swear up and down that a higher number of tags is required for a Dreamsnap to perform well. In a way, these theories are neither correct nor incorrect, rather a mix of both. I'll spare you the details and months of research and summarize my findings like this. Through a large test pool of hundreds of players, months upon months of research, and cross-referencing items used with Dreamsnaps that perform strong versus Dreamsnaps that perform poorly, it began to become more and more apparent what was really at play in the Dreamsnap system. The Dreamsnap system is built to reward players for using high-value items. So what is a high-value item? High-value items are any item with 3 to 4 of the current challenge tags, including both required tags and bonus tags. Outside of the submission requirements, the total number of tags is irrelevant, and this is why you see so many photos like this. While voting, many players find themselves wondering why they came across so many rushed Dreamsnaps that have nothing to do with the theme. Well, think about it for a moment. There are thousands of players each week who either don't really care for the challenge or don't have time for the challenge. So they simply just throw together a Dreamsnap and hit submit. And what's the fastest way to do that? Well, by opening the Dreamsnap tab and placing whatever item shows up at the top, regardless of whether or not they work within the challenge. And the items at the top of the Dreamsnap tab are always high value. And this is the reason you see so many of these strange photos, as they are all getting a boost in visibility. Now, it's important for me to mention that submissions without high value items will still get some visibility, they just won't get as much. And in some cases, submissions lacking high value items can and will still get 4,000 moonstones. It's just not nearly as consistent. Another thing worth mentioning is that many high value items do naturally go well with the challenge's theme. So many players using high value items consistently don't even realize it. This is another reason why it's so important to try and stay on theme. With all of that said, players and creators who believe that having a high tag count mattered were onto something. After all, in decor challenges, tag maxing, or trying to hide as many tagged items as possible in your Dreamsnap, does mean that you'll be running an extremely high chance of utilizing high value items somewhere in your submission. This is also why a high tag count can be so successful in an outfit challenge, as pushing for a higher tag count often means going for the high value items. Though it's important for me to mention here that you do not have to make every single piece of clothing in an outfit challenge a high value item. So long as you build your outfit around high value items, the Dreamsnap should have good visibility. I advise aiming for a minimum of at least 5 high value items for an outfit challenge. Keep in mind, some outfit challenges will only allow you to equip one 4-tag item. In your Luxe look, it was a bracelet, and top it all off, it was a hat. Whenever a challenge arises that allows the use of only one 4-tag item, I highly recommend being sure to equip one. So what about the Star Path or Premium Shop theory? Do items from the Star Path or Premium Shop increase Dreamsnap visibility? Well, the answer is sometimes yes and sometimes no. It all depends on what the high value items are for that particular challenge. The reason this theory seems to work out more often than not is because Gameloft often intentionally puts high value items in the Premium Shop in coordination with that week's Dreamsnap challenge. And many premium items tend to hold several commonly used Dreamsnap tags. For example, during the Ancient Aesthetics challenge, every item in the Hercules bundle was a high value item. During the Theme Park Snack Bar challenge, every item from the Curiosity Labyrinth bundle was a high value item, as well as the returning Pixar Pal Around, which just so happened to come to the Premium Shop that same week. Keep in mind, this is not the case for all challenges, but only a few. And fortunately, this only rarely applies to outfit challenges. Gameloft has also worked to make it a bit easier to understand this high-value system. Along with Update 9, the devs made some important wording changes to the Dreamsnaps menu, changing the wording for non-required tags from suggested to bonus, and introducing a new Dreamsnap tab which actively showed both required and bonus tags, as these suggested tags were never truly just a suggestion, rather something you could utilize for increased visibility. On top of that, the newly added Dreamsnap tab actually lists items in the order of value. Items with all 4 tags are always at the top of the tab, followed by items with 3 tags, then 2 tags, and then finally items with just 1 tag. Keep in mind that no 4-tag item is worth more than another 4-tag item. They're all worth the same. And there are often many items with 3 to 4 tags that have nothing to do with the current challenge. Knowing how important it is to use high-value items can give you an advantage in Dreamsnaps. Unfortunately, for newer players, this does pose an issue. No matter how creative you get with your Dreamsnap, if you're lacking high-value items, it may be difficult to perform as well as you would like. After all, the system is set up to reward players for using items that Dreamlight Valley wants them to use, meaning items with 3 or 4 tags. This also means that Dreamsnaps isn't as free and open to interpretation as I would like it to be. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the tag system at all, but it seems like it's here to stay, and as long as that's the case, I want to make sure players can navigate it properly. If you're a newer player with limited items, I recommend joining Discord servers and looking for screwed shop items shared among others to increase your ever-growing arsenal of Dreamsnaps decor and outfit options. Lastly, I'll say this. I was consistently placing in the 4K range before even learning about the high value item effect, though with this knowledge, my rank has improved even further, often landing me around the top 500 ranks, and my overall ranks are much more consistent. Please keep in mind that simply utilizing high value items does not guarantee you 4,000 moonstones. It simply grants you more visibility. It's still on you to use the other tips in this video to impress voters and capture the votes to achieve a high Dreamsnap rank. With all of that said, I have just one more tip to share. A little bonus tip, if you will, and this one is quite simple. Have fun. Gaming should be fun, and each weekly Dreamsnap challenge should be seen as an opportunity to be creative with the decor and clothing that the particular challenge wants us to utilize. Try not to stress the rank, score, and rewards too much. It's okay to take the process seriously, but when you start to actually get outraged and angry over Dreamsnaps, it might be time to take a step back. Though I do hope with this video you find the entire process far less frustrating and far more enjoyable. If you found today's video helpful, informative, or simply entertaining, please do me a very big favor and press that like button. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. No, seriously, please consider it. I put so much work into this video. This has been months and months in the making and is pretty much the reason you guys have only gotten one video a week for the last 4 weeks. So if you appreciate any of the work that's gone into this, please join our growing YouTube community. It would mean a lot to me. If you would like to catch more of my content, you can find me live Monday through Friday on my Twitch channel. Links to my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck in your Dreamsnaps challenges.